Very pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Tornado Talk, where we talk all things Brevard College athletics. We're here on Monday nights at Dugan's Pub, 29 West French Broad Street in Brevard, North Carolina. Have an exciting show on tap tonight. We'll get things started in just a few minutes with the man on my left, assistant men's basketball coach Miles Leathers. We'll speak with men's basketball student athletes Kanan Lamb and Josh Wilson. Women's basketball coach Donald Hudson will be in the house, along with women's basketball seniors Krista Davis and Elena Perez. We'll talk some football with assistant coach and special teams coordinator Jaron Gavea. And we'll talk all things Brevard College athletics over the course of the evening. Want to thank our sponsors, Arby's, Jets Pizza, Holiday Inn Express, Hampton Inn, Ingalls, Mission Sports Medicine, Comporium, Pepsi, and the home of Tornado Talk, Dugan's Pub. Do want to let you know of all the Brevard College athletics events going on this week. They get started in earnest tomorrow, Tuesday, February the 11th. Men's basketball, 6 p.m. Please take note of that game time change. Originally, it was scheduled for 7:30. It will be a 6 p.m. tip-off. Covenant had to do a little bit of rearranging of their schedule after a snowy weekend, especially up their way in Lookout Mountain, Georgia. And as a result, a 6 p.m. tip-off Tuesday night at the Boschmer Gymnasium. It's also Jameson's Joy Night, just a fantastic nonprofit. Go to jamesonsjoy.org. Also, check out the hashtag JamesonsJoy, and we'll be talking a little more about that also with Coach Miles Leathers. Men's and women's tennis were scheduled to get started tomorrow at the Mckay Tennis Complex with their spring schedule. That match against Southern Wesleyan has been postponed until Saturday. Stay tuned to bctornadoes.com for the latest there. The Tornadoes will actually be playing against two different opponents on Saturday in men's and women's tennis. Obviously, if you're here in the Brevard area, you've realized that there's been a lot of precipitation lately, making it difficult for the tennis match to go off tomorrow, so that'll be taking place on Saturday. Then Wednesday of this week, Wednesday, February the 12th, softball hosts a doubleheader versus Bluefield College. That's also going to be opening day of the regular season for the softball team at Ives Lamel Family Field. Doubleheader begins at 1 p.m. And then 6 p.m. on Wednesday at the Bosch. We'll be talking a bunch about this matchup as well. Women's basketball will face off against Piedmont in the Play for K game. Go to kyal.com and take part in that initiative as well. The KYAL Cancer Fund, helping fight against all cancers that affect women, and just a fantastic program across the world of college athletics that the Tornadoes are taking part in on Wednesday night. And we'll talk some more about women's basketball with head coach Donald Hudson along with his two seniors, because Saturday this weekend is women's basketball senior day at the Boschmer Gymnasium when the Tornadoes take on Pfeiffer at 2 p.m. Now, there's a lot going on Saturday in the world of Tornado athletics. The season opener for the climbing team, they're up in Cullowhee, North Carolina at Western Carolina. We mentioned men's and women's tennis versus both Southern Wesleyan and Spartanburg Methodist at the Mckay Tennis Complex. Baseball will be on the road at Guilford and Greensboro, North Carolina for a doubleheader starting at noon. Men's basketball will be on the road at Maryville in Maryville, Tennessee. That tip-off is at 4 p.m. on Saturday. And then women's lacrosse with their season opener at Berry in Mount Berry, Georgia, the season opener for women's lacrosse. Now, the home opener for women's lacrosse, mark your calendars, is now set for Wednesday, March 4th at 6 p.m. versus Johnson & Wales at Ives Lamel Family Field. That's the Johnson & Wales, the Denver, Colorado variety. Baseball's home opener versus Piedmont, 2 p.m. on Friday, February 21st at Gil Cohen Field. Track and field and road cycling preparing for their openers as well. And just want to catch you up briefly. Before we saw you last, there has been some news across the wires. First, Nathan Sanders earning Rookie Pitcher of the Week for the Tornadoes. He's the 12th Tornado in this academic year to win a Athlete of the Week honor for the USA South Conference, and Nathan Sanders did it. He was the Baseball Rookie Pitcher of the Week after a season-opening performance at William Peace at the USA Baseball training complex this past weekend, and just a lights-out performance, 2 scoreless innings in his first collegiate appearance. So congratulations to Nathan Sanders. Baseball opened their season this past weekend a tough weekend at William Peace. Big day on Saturday for Jason Jucker in the doubleheader, going 4 for 7. Also Ryan Roon with a pair of hits and an RBI as well. Cade Stetcher was the star at the plate in Game 3 of the series, but Tornadoes dropped the 3 games, and they'll try to get back on track this weekend versus Guilford. Women's basketball, since we saw you last, they've just completed a stretch of 4 straight road games, and they've won 3 of those 4. It started with a win at LaGrange, and then a win at Bob Jones, a win at Agnes Scott, and then a heartbreaking loss this past weekend at Covenant. But the Tornadoes will be back in action on Wednesday versus Piedmont. And that brings us to our first guest of the evening, Assistant Coach Miles Leathers. Coach, thanks for joining the program.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Coach, do want to recap what's happened this past week or so on the court first, then we'll get into some other subjects. 2 tough losses, I know, for you guys. You know, the first one being a 65-61 loss at Piedmont in DeMorris, Georgia. 4 Tornadoes scored in double figures in that one, led by senior guard Damari Hopper. Cannon Lamb, who's in the house tonight, also scored 14 points. He hit 3 threes. If you can reflect back a little bit at that road game at Piedmont, what went well and what didn't go so well?
So we got off to a really good start. The guys played really hard. We came out with a lot of energy. Kind of faded a little bit in the middle of the first half. Kind of had a little lull, but we battled. We battled the whole night. Guys played well. Guys played hard. As you mentioned, Damari Hopper, he had a really good game along with Cannon. A couple things happened towards the end that we just couldn't bounce back from. We actually had a 3 in the air to tie the game that we couldn't get to go down. But play hard, man, play hard. I really wish we would have, pulled that one out. But, certain bounce here, certain bounce there, we just couldn't get. And we ended up dropping that one on the road to a good Piedmont team.
And then a few days later, back at the Boschmer Gymnasium, and I know the result you weren't looking for versus LaGrange, a big day for Cannon Lamb individually.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out of that defeat to LaGrange and then turning the page for this matchup on Tuesday, tomorrow versus Covenant, what are the big adjustments and sort of mentality that you guys as a coaching staff have been working with the players on?
Yeah, so today I feel like we had a really good practice. We got really, really in-depth with our game plan and how we want to attack these guys and how we want to defend them. They have 2 really good players, preseason All-American and Will Crumley, and they also have Chris Barnett, another really good player, another really good guard. So we basically game plan to the best of our abilities. Guys were really locked in today. Went over, certain sets, certain baseline out of bounds plays. And we got a lot of shots up today, which is good. Shooting the ball at home is always critical for us. If we make shots tomorrow, we'll have a really good shot at winning the game. So we're excited about what comes for tomorrow.
Outstanding. Now, before I turn the page completely to this upcoming week, I do want to also mention the matchup versus LaGrange was Team Impact Day, and we have in the house once again Russell Mckay from Team Impact, and he was actually on the show last week with Coach Burgess. But Coach Leathers, I know it's a fantastic program where it's sort of a win-win, where you guys as the team get a lot out of Russell's participation, and certainly he gets a lot out of it as well. From your perspective, can you talk about Russell Mckay, what kind of tornado he is, and also what it's meant for you guys to have him as part of the team?
Yeah, definitely. Russell, he's a great kid, man. Great kid. I can't say enough about him. Great kid, great family. Every time he comes, whether it's a practice or a game, guys just have this certain energy. He brings, a smile on everybody's face. He's just a really great kid, high-spirited kid. Kind of shy at times, but, that's what makes him just such a beautiful kid. Has a great spirit, loves basketball. Loves cheering on our team, cheering on the squad, and he's been through a lot in his life, obviously, and it's always good to see him. It's always good to see his smiling face, man. It just brings a certain energy, a certain spirit into our team, into the game.
Yeah, I tip my hat to yourself, Coach, Coach Burgess, the entire Tornadoes roster. Really integrating, Russell into the team, and it comes very naturally now here in year 2 with the program. Now, tomorrow a very important cause as well, which is Jameson's Joy, and the more I'm researching this nonprofit, the more impactful I know we can be as far as raising awareness. Jameson, a young boy, he was only 9 years old when he passed away unexpectedly, little over a year ago, and hashtag Jameson's Joy quickly became a grassroots effort performing widespread random acts of kindness in many communities around the world. The Jameson's Joy Memorial Service Foundation quickly born from this movement, and now I know they're raising funds, raising awareness, kind of getting this vibe going. I know the team is prepared for this special night.
Oh yeah, definitely. Jamie's dad, he just came after practice and spoke with the team, spoke with the coaching staff. Had the guys sit down in the middle of the gym, and he just spoke. He spoke from his heart. He was very genuine. It was actually an emotional speech, and the guys really embraced him. I know it was kind of a tough speech for him to have, and I'm proud of our guys, and I'm certainly proud of him for just having that moment together. And it was definitely a special moment, not only for him but for our team as well. He's going to be there tomorrow, and just for him to have the courage to sit up there and talk to the team, talk to us, and just deliver his message. It was just a special moment. I know the guys really embraced him, and we're just looking forward to playing tomorrow.
Yeah, once again, I tip my hat to you guys. It's just some great community service efforts you guys are putting forward, raising awareness for all these great causes. Now, Coach Leathers, I do want the audience, in case they don't remember you, when you were wearing the Tornado uniform, to learn a little bit about you. And, you're new here as far as, a part of the coaching staff, but you certainly are familiar with Tornadoes basketball and Brevard College at 2016 graduate Brevard College, and the only player to surpass the marks of 1,000 points, 500 rebounds, 250 assists, and 100 steals all time at Brevard College. You played 4 years under Coach Burgess, team co-captain and co-MVP of the 2015 and 16 season, male athlete of the year that year, all over the Brevard College men's basketball record books. Can you reflect back, Coach, on your days as a student athlete? I'm sure they're seeming further and further removed as you continue in your coaching career, but kind of think back and, how enjoyable it was to be a student athlete here at Brevard College.
Oh, yes, sir, definitely. So, that was a special time for me. I was certainly grateful for the opportunity that Coach Burgess gave me to come play for him. I was one of his first recruits, and me and Coach has had a special bond. Getting a chance to come up here and play 4 years, being able to do what I did on the court, being able to graduate, most importantly. It was just a special, surreal 4 years for me. I had a lot of great teammates. Obviously, Coach Burgess, Coach KJ, two great guys. I call KJ all the time, just to ask for advice and, ask for certain recruiting tactics and stuff like that. I had an opportunity to come across a lot of great coaches, great players, great professors, great faculty, staff, just you name it. It was just a great experience for me. It was a good time for my family, and I'm definitely proud for some of the things that I did here, and most importantly, I'm proud that, I graduated from Brevard College.
Well, you made that transition from player or student athlete to coach, and that involved a coaching stint at Warren County High School in Warren County, North Carolina, also associate head coach for the NC Raptors AAU basketball program here in the state of North Carolina. Can you talk about that, how that's been for you, transitioning from player to now coach?
Yeah, definitely. So basically, after I was done playing, I definitely wanted to get into coaching. My best friend, TJ Mckay, he called me and, just kind of pitched to me the theme of having creating our own AAU team. So me and him, we basically created our own AAU team, AAU program based out of Warren County, based out of Warrenton, North Carolina. And I ended up just falling in love with it, falling in love with coaching, falling in love with coaching with one of my best friends. That ended up being a great opportunity, a great experience for me and him. Then TJ, he actually gave me the idea of coaching the high school team. So me and him, we started doing that. Me and him, we became the coaches at Warren County High School, which was another great experience for me. I was actually teaching and coaching. I was teaching physical science and earth environmental science. He was a math teacher, so we were doing that and we was coaching at the same time. So that was a great experience for me. And doing that with him, it was just a blessing. It was a blessing. And then when Coach Burgess called me and offered me the assistant coaching job here, it's funny. It's just funny how God works. Like right after we was done with preseason workouts, that's when he gave me the call. And I contemplated taking it or not taking it, taking it or not taking it. And TJ was the first person I kind of consulted with about that. And I just told him I'm gonna end up taking the job at Brevard. And he was just incredibly happy for me. And it's something I prayed about, and it's something that I ended up doing. I ended up pursuing, and it's been a great opportunity for me. And I'm just extremely happy, extremely blessed for the opportunity that Coach Burgess gave me.
Yeah, it's really a cool story how it's all kind of come full circle, and you're now coaching at your alma mater. Now, we're in the home stretch here of the season. Most of it's behind you, so you have a lot of experience now as far as this year goes. First college coaching experience. Can you talk about what you've perhaps found the most gratifying for it, but also what have been the biggest challenges?
Yes, sir. So definitely something that I'm just grateful for are definitely the guys. The guys, they really embraced me. They really took a liking to me early. I kind of came in like right before the season started. So this new guy just walking in, thinking he gonna coach us, but they really, they really took a liking to me, and they really appreciate my efforts, and I just, I'm forever grateful and forever indebted to these guys. They've been a great group to coach. It's always positive vibes, positive energy, and especially for the seniors as well. They've done a great job. They've just done a great job with leading the group and being coachable and just going out and competing night in and night out. So that's something I'm grateful for. Some of the challenges are just being a first-year coach. You're trying to get the hang of things, trying to get the hang of how everything works. You want everything to be perfect as far as when I'm making a scouting report or when I'm making a film edit of the other team for the team to prepare. Providing all the energy I can on the sideline. You just want everything to be perfect. You want to just give like 110% effort. So it's something that I'm learning, and I feel like I've been doing a good job, and I just want to continue to go and continue to push forward.
Well, we're thrilled to have you here, Coach, and appreciate you sharing your story a little bit as well. I'd love for our audience to get know you better tonight. Again, folks, tomorrow night, 6 p.m., the men's basketball team will host Covenant. That's a 6 p.m. tip-off. Also, Jameson's Joy night at the Boschmer Gymnasium. Coach, good luck tomorrow versus Covenant. We're going to talk to a couple of your student-athletes now, and thanks for joining Tornado Talk.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
All right, that was assistant men's basketball coach Miles Leathers. Great to catch up with him, and one of the all-time greats on the court for the Brevard College Tornadoes, now getting it done as a member of that coaching staff. And we'll bring in a couple of those aforementioned student-athletes now, two veterans of Tornado Talk, Josh Wilson and Cannon Lamb, making their way here to the Coach's Corner at Dugan's Pub as they get settled in. All right, joined now by Josh Wilson.
How you doing?
Cannon Lamb.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for joining Tornado Talk. All right, guys. Well, first, I want to talk about this gentleman who was just on the show with us here, assistant coach Miles Leathers. And what I want to talk about first is I just love this stat, and I'm kind of a stat guy, as you guys can imagine. The only player in Brevard College history to do the following: score 1,000 points, pull down 500 rebounds, dish out 250 assists, and also register 100 steals. So in other words, this guy could do it all. Can you talk about that first? What it's like to have somebody who you guys know was like a big-time star for the Tornadoes now coach you?
For me, it's good having him around because I play the wing just like he did, and he gives me a lot of advice. And I just try to, match his work ethic because he was a really good player. As you see, he's a really good player.
For me, when he came in, I watched his mixtape and had to get familiar with him. And he's just the guy I'll chase in my career and just try to be like him.
Yeah, and in specific, and Josh, you spoke about, the wing play, and I'm sure there's certain techniques. And Cannon, I would imagine it's more kind of like, sort of an overall, type approach with you. But can you guys talk some specifics as far as things he may have, handed down to you wisdom-wise that have paid off?
Just teaching us angles and how to drive and getting good spots to get our shots up and stuff like that within the offense and defense, whether it's working hard or not.
And he's in the post. We all get a chance to play in the post, and he was a good scorer down there. So I learned a little bit of his moves.
Now, you all are busy preparing for tomorrow's matchup versus Covenant, 6 p.m. If you can share a little bit without, giving away the entire game plan or anything like that, as far as, perhaps attitude-wise and keys of the game that the coaches have maybe passed on to you guys for tomorrow.
They're a good team, and they're very disciplined. They run their offense really good. So we just got to come out, play hard, run our stuff good, and ready for the challenge.
Like he said, we gotta play good basketball. It's a real good team coming in, and just keep things going to wrap up the year.
Well, not the result you guys wanted over the weekend, versus LaGrange. But I do want to mention this guy right here because he exploded for 26 points. And there's been a few games this season where Cannon has been in some sort of zone, and I see Josh nodding his head. I know it's always tough to kind of, talk about yourself. I know how you student athletes go, but I'm going to let Josh handle this one as far as when he gets in that zone. What's happening exactly out there?
He's just telling us to give him the ball, and, once we give him the ball, we know it's going to go into the bucket. He's just a dog. Yeah, he's worked hard. He's always working and killing in practice. So we trust him a lot. We're confident in him.
Yeah, and if you want to return the favor to Josh, because, I see Josh as kind of a guy, and on Saturday in particular, was doing a lot of the, little things, facilitating quite a bit, can certainly score at times, but also does a lot of the kind of the dirty work down there that people might not realize. Cannon, can you return the favor and kind of tell folks a little bit even more what Josh is like as a player?
Oh, yeah. Josh, he does all the dirty work for us, and he can get you a bucket if he needs to. And anytime I want the ball or ask it, he's coming my way. So, I like that as a player.
Now, Cannon, you're pretty local, from Marion, North Carolina, McDowell High School, McDowell County, not too far away from us here at Brevard College. Can you talk about that as far as, being a local product and getting to play college basketball not too far from home?
Oh, it's great being at home. It's just the same culture that I grew up all of my life, and having my family to come most of the home games is great to me.
And, Josh, we've talked about it before on the show, but as much as I like stats, I also am kind of a fan of geography and also places when I look down the roster, I'm like, wait a second, is that a misprint? Did they mean A.L., Alabama? No. They meant Alaska. Eagle River, Alaska, Joshua Wilson's hometown. Josh, you've told the story before, but, perhaps we can take it a different direction this time. We've told the story before how you came here to Brevard, and also that kind of strange coincidence, serendipity that Coach Burgess once spent some time at Eagle River. But now that you're here in North Carolina, and thankfully we have modern technology that you can, stay in touch with folks back home. Are the happenings back in Alaska, something always on your mind?
Just always thinking about my family, always get in touch, talk with them, and old teammates, old coaches, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, we're thrilled to have you both here, whether you're, a short drive away or, a long haul away in the case of Josh. Well, you guys have been doing some tremendous community service as well, and the main thing is raising awareness to some great funds. But I want to mention in particular there's a young tornado in the house tonight. We honored him on Saturday, Russell Mckay.
Yes, sir.
And both of you guys are just like Russell. You've played with him for 2 years. He joined the team at the beginning of last season, re-signed for a second year, and he's here in his second season. Can you guys talk from your perspective as student athletes how cool it's been to have Russell as part of the team?
We love having him on the bench and coming in for practice. A lot of guys get shots up with him, play horse and stuff like that. So it's fun having him around.
For sure. It fires me up to see him in the gym, just know that he's looking up to us, and we just set a good example for him.
Well, and I'm sure you guys kind of can think back of when you were young, but this guy, he loves the game of basketball, right?
Right.
Yeah, it just seems like the second he can get out there and start, throwing up some shots, he's there. Well, fellas, great job tonight on Tornado Talk. We'll be in the house tomorrow at the Boschmer Gymnasium. Again, I just want to remind folks a 6 p.m. tip-off. They changed the tip-off time to adjust to some of Covenant's travel. They had a kind of a snowy weekend up there. We had some snow here in Brevard, but they had even more up there at Lookout Mountain. But 6 p.m. tomorrow at the Boschmer Gymnasium. It's also Jameson's Joy Night. We'll be there. Good luck tomorrow, gentlemen. Great job on the show.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, that was Josh Wilson and Cannon Lamb, two of those men's basketball student athletes. Getting ready for that matchup tomorrow versus Covenant at the Boschmer Gymnasium. Also, Jameson's Joy Night. Go to jamesonsjoy.org. Use the hashtag JamesonsJoy. And it should be a great one at the Boschmer Gymnasium. Hope you're able to join us for that. Again, a special 6 p.m. tip-off due to Covenant rearranging their schedule following the weekend of weather. And joined now by head women's basketball coach Donald Hudson. Coach, thanks for joining the program.
Yes, sir. What's up, Phil? How you doing?
Doing great, Coach.
Good.
Well, do want to review this stretch that the Tornadoes just, completed. 4 straight road games to start the month of February. 3 of the 4 ended up in the win column. Wins at LaGrange, at Bob Jones, and at Agnes Scott. But then a heartbreaking 46-44 loss at Covenant on Saturday. Before we get to the Covenant matchup on Saturday, those first 3 wins, as far as you guys keeping that momentum going and the things that were going right during those 3 games.
Yeah, that road trip, it's not often that you hear a coach say that we would like to play on the road, but that was something that the team needed. We came off of a very tough home loss to Huntington where we played well but lost the game late. And that road trip was something that, brought the group together. Being together on the road because, college basketball on the road, it's just you. You don't have many fans in the stands. It's just you and your team. So you really got to lean on each other to get that job done. And the hotel trips, the bus rides, just bonding time. And that allowed us to come a little bit closer, toward the end of the season. And I think it translated to the floor. The one thing that all those games had in common was our defense. Our defense was really good throughout all of those games. Even that loss at Covenant this past weekend, our defense has been what's been keeping us in games. At times we can struggle to put it in the basket sometimes, and that's part of the game. It comes and goes. Your offense is something that you work on and you hope it's going to be there every night, but it comes and goes at times. But that defense has been there, and that's been keeping us in every game. That's something that we've talked about down the stretch as being a team that's hard to score against. We want to make you earn everything. We've kind of extended the floor a little bit more with a little zone pressure and falling back into a zone at times, falling back into man-to-man at times. Just keeping the opposition on its feet, not letting them settle into running certain offenses and just getting comfortable, so making them do different things. And it's been good for us. Well, we finish up at home this week with Piedmont and Pfeiffer. And I've been proud of my team for the last month. You know, if you look at it, you see the last 3-game win streak, and even the games that we've lost before that, it's just been progress. You know, I came on last week telling you the same thing. It's just been steady progress throughout the entirety of the season. And as a coach, you know, that's what you want to see. Would I like to win more of those games? Absolutely, Phil. But it just hasn't been in the card for us. But I see the progress that I want to see right now. And hopefully we can ride this momentum into these last 2 games and finish them the right way, send our seniors out the right way. They deserve it. And take some of this positive momentum into the offseason.
Now, following those 3 straight wins on the road, a matchup at Covenant on Saturday in kind of some odd circumstances because a big snowstorm hits on Saturday morning. Suddenly everything's up in the air.
Yeah.
What time this game may be played at, whether this game may be played at all on Saturday. You know, it sort of you were in limbo there. And eventually the game ended up being played a 5 p.m. tip-off. It was originally scheduled for a 2 p.m. tip-off, so you all were able to get up that mountain. And folks who haven't been to Lookout Mountain, Georgia, I mean, it is literally up a mountain that you got to get up there. So snow affects the roads and so forth, and, you know, certainly safety first. But can you kind of talk about that day and how that all unfolded? And from your perspective as a coach, you know, what you needed to do to make sure the team was ready, whether the game was going to go off or not?
Yeah, I mean, it started off as just a normal Saturday morning on a Saturday game on the road. Coach Hyatt sent me a text, and the text said, "Have you looked outside?" And immediately I thought snow. So I opened the window, and it was everywhere, Phil. It was everywhere. There were no signs of it the night before, like no flurries or anything. And so to wake up and see everything completely covered, it was weird. But we had to remember where we are. We're up in the mountains and everything, and got a good snowstorm throughout the night. And so from then, I get a call from Covenant's coach, and she's going about telling me how things are going to play out and just some of the options that we have. And at this point, it's still up in the air whether we're going to play the game or not. But what it does, ultimately, it just kind of throws off your rhythm. You know, we're kind of creatures of habit. I know I am. You know, I have a routine set for game days, and I like to stick to it. I'm not superstitious or anything, but I kind of have certain things that I like to do on pregame days and just stuff to get done before the game. And all of that was kind of thrown off. And the team did a really good job of understanding everything. I shot out a text and let everybody know what was going on and where we were with everything. And as I got information, I passed it on to them. And it just pushed everything back a little bit. But the hotel that we stayed with, they were generous enough to let us hang around in their lobby and their conference room. And that allowed us to watch some film. And I think we benefited from that. You know, because your body you can kind of get out of whack a little bit because you've been thrown off. You know, just to sit down with the team and watch that entire game. We watched the entire game from when we played them here, and got some good stuff from it. Sit down and talk together. Everybody's kind of pitching out ideas that they're seeing and things that we didn't do right, things that we did well, and I thought that was good bonding time as well. And eventually we watch our film, go pregame meal, head over to the arena, and play the game that we had a chance to win. The one thing that I was disappointed about in this game was our inability to defend without fouling. You know, we did a decent job of defending them and keeping them perimeter oriented, but when they did beat us off the dribble occasionally, we would foul and put them on the free throw line. They shot 24 free throws, I think, and that was our undoing. You know, it's hard to beat a team when you allow them to go to the line that many times, and on our end, we weren't getting to the line. You know, so I think we shot 6, they shot 24. There's a big difference there. But we were fouled. You know, I went back and watched the film, and we play an attacking style of defense, so occasionally we'll have nights like that. But this one kind of bit us a little bit. We fought, had a shot to tie it late. I mean, it just finished short. But like I said about this last month of the season, man, we're competing. We're competing. Extremely proud of that group for going out and putting a good foot forward, and just getting some of this experience that's going to help us in the future.
Well, Coach, a opportunity now back at home. This Wednesday, the women's basketball team takes on Piedmont. It's also the Play for K game. We'll tell you more about that as well. But as far as on the court and what the Tornadoes need to do, Piedmont on Wednesday, what are the keys?
Piedmont's a good team. I think they're second in the East Division. We went over and played them a month ago and played them to a 9-point game, a game that was nip and tuck, one of the games that we've played well and defended at a high level, just didn't hit shots late. But the key to tomorrow, Wednesday, is it's going to be, I think they'll give us some zone at times, just being able to knock down shots. You know, being good defensively, getting stops, and beating their zone down the floor so we don't have to play against it for 40 minutes. They'll be in and out of different things, but we got to do what we do. You know, be disciplined defensively, run clean offense, and limited turnovers. Limited turnovers. Be good on the offensive glass. We want to attack the offensive glass, and we want to rebound well. So just those things and the things that go into winning basketball games. So we got to be really good at it. We got to be good at the things that we do. We can't beat ourselves. You play against a team of this magnitude, a good team. You don't want to go out there and turn the ball over 20 times. It's already going to be a tough game to play with them being a quality team, so you don't want to give them extra possessions. So that'd be turnovers or missed box outs. That stuff's going to kill us. So that's going to be something we will hop on tomorrow morning in practice, and we'll be ready to go.
Now, it's also the Play for K game, and if you go to KayYow, that's KayYow.com, you can learn more. But this is a fantastic nonprofit that helps in awareness and also raising funds in the fight against all cancers that affect women. The Tornadoes are having a big T-shirt sale, some gorgeous pink T-shirts to support this cause as well. And I mentioned this to Coach Burgess last week, Coach. I'm continually impressed and amazed just how many of these programs Brevard College Athletics has as far as raising awareness for these different charities and nonprofits and just fantastic causes. Can you talk sort of big picture how important this is for the team to take part in programs such as this?
Yeah, it's just using our platform to just bring awareness to different things. We have people that come to our games and support and just getting that information out there, and just letting people know that this game is just a game at the end of the day. It's fun to play. We have fun with it, but it's puts things kind of in perspective, let you know that this game is fun, but there's an ultimate game of life that we really want to be good at it. Just using what we have to people to come out and just to brand everything about and just bring awareness to the things that we're trying to talk about.
Well, following the game on Wednesday, Saturday is the season finale. 2 p.m. versus Pfeiffer. The Tornadoes will host Pfeiffer at the Boschmer Gymnasium. That's this Saturday at 2 p.m. And before we get to Senior Day and our next guest, I do want to mention one more, important awareness program.
Yes.
The USA South Conference's #Blockout Cancer program, a conference-wide initiative honoring Greensboro College women's basketball head coach Randy Tuggle in his fight against pancreatic cancer. Both teams joined at center court this past Friday when the Tornadoes were at Agnes Scott for a photo and to raise awareness for Coach Tuggle's fight against cancer. And Saturday, the Tornadoes will be hosting a Blockout Cancer program as well. I'd like to ask you from this perspective, Coach, as far as, your coaching brethren, and when there's a situation like this with one of your fellow coaches within the conference, just how important it is for everybody to come together and rally behind a cause like this.
Yeah. Like I said, it kind of just puts things into perspective. You kind of go about the season and you're up and you're down with wins and losses of the game. You kind of get caught up in just that, but just take a step back and you kind of see what some other people are dealing with. It kind of opens your eyes a little bit. Coach Tuggle, Randy, he was one of the first guys that I met in the league. I met him out on a recruiting trip, and he was so generous to me. And just talking to him a little bit, he was kind of showing me the ropes. I was still a new head coach, and we were transitioning to their league, and just talking with him a little bit. And the league has done a good job of bringing awareness to his situation. And we're very, very proud and honored to be a part of it, and we'll do a good job of bringing a little awareness to it on Saturday.
And it's also Senior Day, and the two seniors are in the house tonight, Krista Davis and Elena Perez. So we'll be honoring those two in their final game in a Tornado uniform. Can you talk about each of them for a bit as far as, what they've brought as seniors on this year's club?
Yeah, it's kind of weird to kind of see them go. They've both have been a part of my life for the last 3 or 4 years, and we're going to miss them. We're going to miss them. We're going to miss them on and off the court field. Everyone gets to see them play and what they do on the court and the things they bring to the team, but what they don't get to see is the stuff behind the scenes, and just the interactions that we have when they come sit and talk in my office. Those are the things that I'll miss. Well, I miss them on the court doing the things that they do. Krista with her rebounding, her defensive presence, and Elena with her always in the right spot, making the crafty plays and just doing the right things. Of course, we'll miss that stuff on the court, but the things that I'll miss the most are just the personal interactions. Seeing them in the caf, hey, what's up, coach? How you doing? Good kids feel. And those are hard to come by at times. So you got to cherish the ones you have. And I have 2 of them right now, and it's as sad as it is to see them leave. I'm happy for them. The women that they've grown into, and just watching them take that next step in life. And hopefully, I've done a decent job of helping prepare them for that. And they've been good for me. I hope I've been good for them.
Well, 2 more opportunities to see the Tornadoes women's basketball team. Wednesday, 6 p.m. at the Boschmer Gymnasium versus Piedmont, and then Saturday versus Pfeiffer on Senior Day when we honor the next 2 guests here on Tornado Talk, Krista Davis and Elena Perez. Coach, good luck this week with the last 2 games of the season.
Yes, sir.
And thanks all season for joining Tornado Talk.
Absolutely.
All right, that was head women's basketball coach Donald Hudson previewing this weekend's matchups. Wednesday versus Piedmont at 6 p.m., the Play for K game, and then Saturday, 2 p.m. versus Pfeiffer, USA South Conference's Blackout Cancer game, and also Senior Day. And we'll be able to reflect a little bit on the careers of these 2 seniors as they make their way into the broadcast location here at Dugan's Pub. All right, joined now by seniors Elena Perez and Krista Davis. Ladies, thanks for joining the program.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Well, you're both veterans of Tornado Talk, but little different circumstances this week because it's the week of Senior Day. So we're counting down the days to your final game in a Tornado uniform. I know you've got a game on Wednesday night that you're preparing for first.
Mm-hmm.
First things first. However, I want to get sentimental a little bit with you all, Can each of you spend a little time sort of reflecting back on, your experience as a Brevard College student athlete, and, if you can think back of, whether it's, something you're grateful for or a special memory, what comes to mind when I say, hey, you're about to play your last game in a Tornado uniform. Congratulations.
Well, I think of the wonderful opportunity that the 2 coaches have given us, or like for me especially. Being able to come back and being able to play has really meant a lot, and being able to grow in different ways on and off the court. And it's been very exciting. It's sad, it's very emotional to be playing our last 2 games, but it's also exciting because I'm ready to start the next step in my life. So.
Yeah, I'm grateful for Coach Hud and Coach Hyatt. When no one believed in me, offensive-wise, he was always telling me, I can do it. Chris, you can do it. It does get, emotional, it's my last game coming up. The real world's about to hit, It's crazy. Yeah. But I am grateful for all the opportunities I've been given at Brevard College.
Now, can you talk about each other, too? Because, again, you're the only 2 seniors, so you've gone through, this season, this senior year with underclassmen looking up to you for leadership and for answers and things like that. So I'd like to hear from each of you about the other, whatever comes to mind on the court, off the court, personality-wise. Krista, we'll start with you. What's Elena all about as a leader?
This is my first season really playing with Elena. I know when I first got here, I think she was here a little bit in preseason, so not much experience, but she's a hard worker. I really do enjoy playing with her on the court. We always can depend on her for defense. She's always there. I just think she's a great player overall, though. It's been nice. And
Elena, the floor is yours to return the favor for Krista.
Well, I think she's a great leader. She's always on the court telling everybody where we need to be, how we can improve in different aspects. Because sometimes we get stuck in seeing only our point of view, and she does a really good job of giving us, telling us how we could do things better. And having the experience that she does, it's everybody respects it a lot.
Now, would like audience members to learn a little bit more kind of about your story too. And Elena, you're from Zephyr Hills, Florida, and you mentioned you have this long layoff as far as your basketball career goes here, but you're back for your senior year. Can you kind of take folks through that progression, the milestones along the way from Zephyr Hills, Florida to here at Brevard College, and then off for a couple years and now back here as a senior?
So freshman year I came in playing. It was a tough freshman year because there was a lot of injuries going on with the team that we had back then. So me and then the other group of freshmen, we all had to kind of come together and do a lot more than we expected to do. And so when I had to leave, it was kind of heartbreaking, but I had to do what I had to do. And so coming back now, when we came for this season, it's been a really growing season. I've spent a lot of time working to get where I am, because since I was off for like 2 years, I had to do like a lot of work. But it's been a ride. It's been an enjoyable ride.
And Krista, a native of Charlotte, North Carolina, and by way of Warren Wilson, you became a Tornado and rounded out your career here. Can you kind of talk about your process, thinking back to when you were a high school player, then eventually becoming a college basketball player, and then ultimately becoming a Tornado?
Well, I was a late bloomer. I started playing basketball freshman year in high school, so I wasn't, playing since I could first walk. I started to get offers my senior year, which I was always grateful for, being like a late bloomer. I went to Warren Wilson. Wasn't really my best option for me, I feel like, but I did want to stay in the area, and Brevard was, in the area, wasn't too far, and Coach Hug gave me the opportunity to come and play basketball here. And like I said, I was grateful for it. It's been 3 years went by quick at Brevard. Like, I remember coming up for a visit with my dad and sitting and talking to Coach Hud and Coach Hyatt, walking campus, and it snap a finger, blink of an eye. I'm done.
Now, you both have mentioned, your coaches, Coach Donald Hudson, Coach Taylor Hyatt, assistant coach. I've been trying to get Coach Hyatt on the show, by the way, but she lives down there in South Carolina. She needs to, beat the traffic down there and all that. But I would like to hear from you guys a little bit more about your coaches and just how, impactful they've been on your career and your growth as a student athlete, and also for maybe a prospective student athlete who's in high school and thinking about coming to Brevard, why they should come and play for this coaching staff.
I would say that with Coach Hud and Coach Hyatt, it's not all about basketball. Like, they try to prepare us for the real world. So, he doesn't want us being late for practice, for example. You can't walk into your job and be late. In the real world, you've got to be on time. So he really stresses being on time. Coming to practice 30 minutes before, getting ready. And I just feel like without him, I just feel like he gets us ready for it. Like, it's not just basketball. He wants us to look into the real world and see that, like, life is really about to hit us.
And yeah, I feel like they're both it's a really great coaching staff, and it's not like Chris was saying. It's not just basketball. It's kind of like a family. Like, you could always go to them, talk to them. Like, their doors are always open for us. They're always available. Like, anytime if we need something, like, I know I could always count on them to be there for us. And like, it's just a great group to be part of. Like, having them to lead us and to do different things, and they prepare us in a lot of ways and definitely hold us accountable for different things.
Outstanding. Well, I do want to conclude with this. You mentioned real world. You mentioned, moving on to the next phase of your life and all that. Can you give listeners and viewers, and a bit of an idea of what you might have in mind for your next move after graduation?
Yeah, I'm probably going to go home and see what life holds for me there, because I am away from home, and I really do miss my family. Hopefully I'll get into grad school. I want to be a physician's assistant, so I still have to go to school for 2 more years. I was thinking about taking a gap year in between, so hopefully that works out.
Outstanding.
Yeah, I could also consider the gap year, but I do plan on going to law school. I plan on taking my LSAT around March or April. Not sure yet. Still in the air. But yeah, it's my next step.
Well, it's exciting, and it's going to be exciting to follow you all as Brevard College alumni as well. And I want to be the first to congratulate you in case no one has yet. I'm imagining I might be the first. Congratulations on a tremendous, career here at Brevard College. And we'll be there on Saturday with flying colors as you play your last game in Tornado uniform. And thanks for joining Tornado Talk throughout the season and for your leadership. And, we'll be there checking you guys out this Saturday for Senior Day. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you.
All right, that was Elena Perez and Krista Davis, the two seniors. Women's basketball in their home stretch. Wednesday versus Piedmont in the Play for K game. And then Saturday, Senior Day at the Boschberg Gymnasium. That's women's basketball. And we'll shift gears now. Been looking forward to having this guest on the show. Joined now by football assistant coach, special teams coordinator Jaron Gavea. Coach Gavea, thanks for joining the show.
How you doing, Phil? Thanks.
All right, so talking some football, and
All right.
it's always recruiting season for you guys, it seems like, over there in those football offices. But last week, a big week with signing day and so forth. If we can start there, team pleased with how things went recruiting in the high off season following the best season in school history on the field?
Yeah, it's an exciting time for us. Last week was successful. We had a dozen or so guys sign with us last week, and guys that we already knew that were waiting on signing day. But that was exciting to get. I mean, this year more than ever, I feel like more kids are reaching out to us for opportunities than we are them. Obviously, the success we had this season, having the historic year that we did, it helps, definitely. But, it's an exciting time. There's a lot of guys interested in being a Tornado, being a part of Tornado football. But last week was successful. We're still pushing, though. We definitely reach out and recruit some of the best players in the Southeast. And, we do have extensions across the country that, we reach out to a lot of guys and talent that, hey, if they're not getting the FCS or D2 offers that they're expecting, we keep in touch with those guys, and they end up reaching out. And so we still got some guys that we're waiting on to hear back from as far as their plans and kind of how the chips fall for them. It's exciting times. Looking forward to how we finish up, this spring and leading into summer. I mean, we can still get guys all the way up to August. So.
Well, I do want to get into some more detail as far as what's going on in the offseason, but before I do so, I would be remiss not to reflect back even more on this record-breaking season we had last year, 8-2, first bowl win in school history. We can go on and on about the records, but a big part of that was your units that, you work with closely, both the special teams and also the safeties, who had that, just lights out performance with all those pickoffs and so forth. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about both of those units and, just how proud you were of them this past season?
Yeah, of course. Well, I'll start with special teams. Obviously, my background's Virginia Tech and Beamer ball, and being the special teams coordinator here has been a true blessing for me, being able to just share my knowledge and really have fun scheming up and making plays. I think the guys this year really took ownership in the details and what we do. Coach Kayat has really, he's let me have the reins as far as the time that I get to work with the guys on a daily basis in practice. I think I'm probably, the one special teams coordinator out of our whole conference that gets the most time to put in the work as far as developing the fundamentals and techniques that you need to be successful, and it shows on Saturdays. So I'm thankful for that. And then this year we did some different things. I implemented some more my theme for my special teams is I have a military theme for what we do. I have a high respect for our military and just what they stand for and the work ethic that they put in, and that correlates with really my mindset when it comes to the special teams play. So, for example, my punt, block, and return team, I call it my SWAT team, Special Weapons and Tactics. We do some cool things. I mean, the kids have fun, and you see them out there really owning it and making plays, and just in a flash, a big play can happen and changes the momentum of the game. It's one of my favorite units to coach and do. But we were successful in all units, really. I was pleased as far as my first goal of winning field position on every Saturday, winning that battle, putting our offense in good field position to be productive. And then on the other end, being able to pin the opponent, because we had a defense that, really just took off this year. And Coach Jake's defensive coordinator, his scheme that we ended up implementing this season, it really took off for us. It showed just in our 3-4 and what we're able to do as far as bringing pressure and being able to attack from different angles with different guys, letting our defensive backs be aggressive. That's what got us the 19 interceptions that we did have. And so, to speak on my safety unit, I was really pleased with their development and progress, especially out of my two starters, Wesley Ross, who has been a starter for me for 3 years. I had him as a freshman. He's taken my coaching very well. He's applied his game, and his game's progressed each year. And so he had a fantastic season. I mean, he's more of the quarterback for us in the back end, being able to make those checks and adjustments.
It seemed like he came up big in the big moments too.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, that's again comes from a lot of hard work, his daily preparation, coming to practice and working his game, his footwork and his footwork really improved this year. And I had him in the post a lot this season. Dante Anderson, my other safety, was able to roll down more, and we used him more in the box, if you will. And so they really took those roles and owned those roles. But yeah, I mean, you talk about Maryville, the last game, and getting those interceptions for Wesley Ross. I mean, he was excited about those. I mean, that was like the next step for him as far as improving his game, getting his hands on that football. He's always been in position, his first 2 years, great positioning. It's just being able to contest those throws and then eventually get those interceptions that he got this season. And then Dante, I mean, first team all-conference player, can't say enough about his work ethic, his preparation that he puts in on a daily basis. And even now, he's probably one of the hardest workers on the team as we're in this off-season training where guys are putting in the work. I think he's a big leader for us as well. But his game speaks for himself, and it really is, his work ethic that I appreciate, that he makes my job, a lot easier and enjoyable when I get to see them, perform on the field and get the success and accolades that they deserve. So I was very pleased with those guys as far as leading my group, but I got some young guys under him that definitely push them. And, Isaac Crisp, he's definitely improved his game, and he works extremely hard as well. He's one of those guys, one of those blue-collar kids that takes his craft seriously. And we've gotten him in on a lot of packages and getting him in the game as well. But he's so versatile in what he does. I mean, we can keep him deep. We can put him in the box, him at the nickel spot for us. So he had a successful year, and in that bowl game, he brought the boom on the quarterback on that one, which was a clean hit, by the way. I don't know if you saw the film of it, but they gave him the targeting on that one. But even with him, I mean, instead of hanging his head after the game, I mean, he was so excited for the guys or the team as a whole, that we got that victory, got that bowl win, and then the young guys coming up, they're putting in work as well.
I had Coach Jakes on the show a couple weeks ago, and I had him go back in his memory banks. I'd like you to do the same because you mentioned the bowl game and the excitement as the clock was running down. From your perspective, if you can kind of give folks a little behind the curtain, time and place, clock's running down, history's being made for Brevard College football. You guys as a football staff have gone through so much and worked so hard to get to this point, but also the student athletes doing their part as well. Can you kind of get back into that moment and describe from your perspective what it felt like?
Putting a smile on my face on this one, but I just remember seeing the smiling faces of the players. Just to seeing how much it meant to them to get that victory, to be a champion. The past 3 years. It's been an uphill climb. We really have been working extremely hard to develop this championship program, and the hard work paid off. And for me, it was just a relief. Just when I knew that we were going to win, we had plenty of points. The time was winding down. It's probably like 4 minutes left in the game. I was like, okay, yeah, we got it. That's where okay, I just started to just take it all in, and really I won't forget the smiles of the kids, them all excited. It was just really special. And, I'll never forget that. And that was, as a coach, that's my first big championship game, big win. And so I will never forget it. But just the hard work that we put in 3 years, it's good to see it all come to fruition. And, it's just, the stepping stone for us right now. We enjoyed it, but, it's back to work. 8-2, excellent season, historic season. But we don't want those 2 losses. Our expectations are even higher now than they've ever been. And I think the players feel that way. The coaches definitely feel that way. And it's showing now in the off-season training when I see these guys on their own going to get their workouts in. It's just it's definitely a shift in the culture as, it's been coming slowly. Last year I felt it. And it showed on Saturdays this past season. It showed in our record. But now more than ever, I think there's more buy-in of the players to believe that, hey, the hard work does pay off. and we got more to prove this next season.
Yeah, and you spoke of how that momentum has aided in the recruiting efforts. I would like to also talk about the other area that you oversee, which is strength and conditioning. And the Brevard College Department of Athletics went into a great partnership with a group called Volt, and the two of them have been working together to create opportunities for these student athletes and make it easy on them. Can you describe where the team is at with strength and conditioning at this moment, in the calendar, but also that relationship with Volt?
Oh, of course. Well, being the designated strength and conditioning coach for the program, I couldn't have a more rewarding role and really a feeling of extreme importance when it comes to the development of our student athletes. One, obviously these kids have goals. They want to perform, they want to do this, that, and the other as far as their individual goals and team goals. But it's really the off-season training that helps them get there. And this past season, I had more kids come to me asking for help. They continue to ask for my help as far as, hey, what can I do more as far as nutritional aspect is concerned. That's a big part of what we do here, so it's been good to see that from the guys. But when we first got here, we were limited as far as our resources with the strength and conditioning. Don't have a full-time strength staff that like you would see at some of those lower divisions at the higher level. So the Volt partnership has been tremendous. I can't say enough good things about that program. When I first saw it and had the opportunity to tell Coach Kayat, Coach, we need this. This is good stuff. It's professionally backed. They partner with Gatorade that helps us with our nutritional resources. But as far as injury prevention and sports-specific training, it even breaks down into position-specific training. But for us to get that partnership for the first 2 years we were here, I think it definitely helped our kids, and it showed in our progress as we developed, because we were young. I mean, we had freshmen, we had sophomores playing for our starters, and for them to get that development early, it helped us this season. There would be times on Saturdays where we kind of get in the scrum and we're pushing that pile back, and our guys on the sideline you say, hey, get on that Volt. They were joking about it, but in all reality, it's helped us. And I was pleased to, I invited one of our Volt rep, Anthony Marhanka from Seattle. They're based out of Seattle, Washington. I flew him out here to present to our athletic department and show them what the Volt could offer as a whole department. And we ended up getting that deal done. And I was pleased about that. And I think as far as the feedback I've gotten from the other head coaches and players, I think that it's been a tremendous asset for those teams as well. And I think as we move forward with Volt, you'll see less injuries, especially in the lower extremities like knee injuries and whatnot, because we're getting proper development now. Within the program, there is injury prevention techniques and exercises that go along with each workout. So I can't say enough about how, that partnership and where it's going to take us for the future. In
case a prospective student athlete, a high school football player, or perhaps their parents are listening and they're wondering, what are they talking about? This Volt program. It's a application on a smartphone that the student athlete will have the opportunity to track his or her progress. Can you go into a little more detail exactly how that works for the user?
Yeah, correct, and exactly. Once I get one of our athletes on Volt, and particularly a big recruiting tool for me is once a prospective student athlete signs with us and makes that official that they're going to come and be a Tornado, they've committed to the program, I can actually now get them going on the Volt training. So I already have all the kids that signed. I got them going on it. So before they even get here in August, they're on our training program. They know what to expect when they get here. They're making those developmental gains that they'll need at the next level. So it's already prepping them to be ready to go and compete at a young age. So from a recruiting standpoint, there is incentive there to, hey, once you get signed with us, man, we can get you going and working, and we can talk about nutrition and get you, prepped up for college football, because it's a different beast than high school ball. But the application, so it is on your smartphone. So the one thing about Division III that a lot of people may not know is that you are limited in what you can do in the off season with your team and your roster. You cannot have any mandatory workouts or lifts. Actually, I just found out I can't even post pictures that my kids are working out at the same gym I go to. But what is great is that I don't have to be there. They have the program, they have the workouts right there on their phone, all the information they have as far as how to do an exercise, even the history of the exercise, coaching cues. So, if they've never done a movement before, they can see it right there on the phone. But the best and most important part of that application is it does track your progress, and it is specifically tailored for you. So, Phil, if I got you on there, it would say you plug in your strength maxes for certain exercises, and as you work through that program, it'll tell you, hey, how was that exercise on that rep? Okay, it was extremely hard, or it was very light. All right, then it starts to adjust your progress as you start building towards that next phase, which may be the strength phase or a power phase or hypertrophy phase, or, hey, we're getting to the max week, So, it usually does like an 8-week cycle, at least for us. And I'm excited moving into March, because in our calendar for football, March 23rd, we'll start our spring practice. That'll be the last week of our cycle. That'll be max week. And so it'll be good to see, hey, who put in work this off season. Hopefully a lot of guys are breaking through PRs, and putting up bigger numbers. So I'm excited for that. So that's kind of where we're working towards. But no, the program, man, I encourage our guys every day to, hey, I encourage you, work on Volt. Some kids, they do like to search and try to do more than they have to, but really it's an all-inclusive program. It's going to be great for the future of athletics here at Brevard College as we, continue to improve, in our facilities, as we continue to improve, hopefully the weight room in the near future. But the technology and that aspect of it, the research and analytics, is where I'm really pushing towards right now. And the new space that we're going to be getting with football will include some of those, that research and analytics that I would like to start using as far as tracking progress. When the kids come in as freshmen, I can get, all those analytical, baseline numbers, if you will, and be able to track that on a yearly basis to see, hey, how much progress have we really made? Or, hey, you're not making as much progress. Well, what's going on? And so I'm able to track everything. It's right there in front of me, and the player and the team. Everyone can see, hey, who's putting in work, who's not. So there's an accountability factor there as well that isn't from the coach. It's right there on the program for the whole team and roster to see. So, I think from a coach's standpoint, it's a godsend. It's just been great. As an athletic department standpoint, it will benefit the whole athletic department as a whole, and you'll start to see less injuries. Better performance on the field or on the court. It's just been a great partnership, and the program's top-notch.
Outstanding, Coach. Well, appreciate you heading that program up. And you mentioned spring football practice starting March the 23rd.
Yes, sir.
Can you talk a little bit as a staff, perhaps what you guys are planning on as far as that practice, the goals of the practice, some of those objectives?
Yeah, of course. So spring ball for us at the Division III level, a couple years ago, they changed those rules where we can't use equipment now. So the kids will never suit up. But so that kind of limits us in what we're able to do as far as, really feel live contact. We still work fundamentals and technique. Spring ball for us is a good time to slow things down, to really break down a position and teach the kids the fundamentals and techniques and that they can work on. And so, it really slows things down, because in camp in the fall, we're only a few weeks away from competition. So, it's time to go. We got to get schematics in. We got to do certain things to be ready for the season. And so it kind of does go by fast in the fall. But the springtime will be great for us to slow things down, really make sure everybody is learning their position at a high level. We still will have our, normal practices, period for period, working our fundamentals, techniques, operations of things. Special teams wise, we'll still get those special teams units done. But more of a spring training vibe where we're slowing things down. The weight room will be important for us to be getting mandatory team lifts that we usually can't get outside of the season. So to build that, camaraderie and work ethic in the off season, we're really spring training. So that'll really be the mindset there. This spring or spring ball. We don't have your traditional spring game that a lot of kids would like to. Hey, you guys having a spring game? I want to come up for the spring game. Well, we don't suit up. We don't have spring game at D3. So we're limited in some ways, but as much as possible, we're going to maximize our time with the kids to have our mandatory team functions. But it's more of a training and getting better at your position as a team, as a whole, in the weight room, building that culture that we've created here. Just to build off of that.
Very good, Coach. Last thing before I let you go, you mentioned recruiting, continues on, despite signing day being this past week as far as the official signing day for a lot of high school student athletes. But for those who may be on the fence and who may be considering Brevard College, why should they come here and be a Tornado?
It's an exciting time for us. One, we're on our way to championship football. We got a taste of the bowl game win, but we're really searching for that conference championship now. And so, if you want to be a part of something special, if you want to learn football at a high level with the coaching staff that we have, it's happening right now. It's here. And the opportunity to where we only graduated 2 seniors, technically. There's some older guys that may not be coming back, but in all reality, we're going to have a young team. We'll have our first true senior class this year, but there's opportunity on the field for anybody who's willing, who's hungry and wants to come compete for a position. Iron sharpens iron, and you hear it all the time, but it's true. And so for us, we're definitely going to keep pushing everybody. When you get guys who come in here and are hungry and want to compete, it only rises the game of everybody else. Okay, so that's where we're at now, where the kids that we are recruiting, they're ready to compete. And so, I keep encouraging our current players to continue to grow, continue to improve, because we're getting better. We're getting better as a team. We're getting better in the recruiting game. And so it is an exciting time for us. And, to say 8-2 again, it'd be tremendous. It'd be another successful season. But, we have high expectations now, and they're higher than ever. And so, I know where we're going. I'm telling our recruits that, and with the new facilities that we're getting this summer, that's a very exciting part of the recruiting process. A lot of kids, they want to see the brand new facilities, the stadium, the locker room, the new uniforms we're getting. So we're going to look like a whole different ball club here next year, and it'll be for the better for sure. So we're excited about the future of Brevard, Tornado football.
Well, I'll add one more reason why student athletes should come here to Brevard College, and it's to play under coaches like yourself and a tremendous coaching staff. For those who don't know, Jaron Gavea played at Virginia Tech. You mentioned special teams coordinator. You got, you learned from the absolute wizard at that in Coach Frank Beamer. You also played defense under another legend, defensive coordinator Bud Foster, who just retired, this past year.
Yep.
So an incredible background of yourself, but also of the entire staff. And you say this almost every show. Listeners, viewers, go to bctornadoes.com. Click on staff directory and start to read the biographies of that football coaching staff, and you'll realize how exceptional this is, and an opportunity for student athletes to be a part of something special, like you said. Coach, thanks for joining the program. Always great to see you here on Tornado Talk, and go Tornadoes.
Go Tornado.
All right, that was assistant coach and special teams coordinator Jaron Gavea. Great to catch up with him. Exciting time in the offseason for Brevard College football as they head towards spring ball. Well, I do want to thank all of our guests tonight. We had assistant men's basketball coach Miles Leathers. We had men's basketball student athletes Cannon Lamb and Josh Wilson on the show. We talked women's basketball with head coach Donald Hudson, along with women's basketball seniors Krista Davis and Elena Perez, and assistant coach, special teams coordinator, safeties coach. He also heads up strength and conditioning, Coach Jaron Gavea. I want to thank our sponsors, Arby's, Jets Pizza, Holiday Inn Express, Hampton Inn, Ingalls, Mission Sports Medicine, Comporium, Pepsi, and the home of Tornado Talk, Dugan's Pub. A lot going on in the Brevard College athletics world this week, all sorts of events that you can check out. They begin tomorrow, Tuesday, February the 11th. Men's basketball hosting Covenant at 6 p.m. Please note that's a 6 p.m. tip-off. It was originally scheduled for 7:30, but due to Covenant rearranging their schedule following the weekend weather, a 6 p.m. tip-off on Tuesday at the Boschmer Gymnasium. It is also Jameson's Joy Night, and go to jamesonsjoy.org to learn more about that fantastic organization. Men's and women's tennis were scheduled to play tomorrow at the Mckay Tennis Complex. That match versus Southern Wesleyan has been postponed until Saturday. Wednesday, 1 and 3 p.m., a doubleheader. It's the opening day of regular season softball for the Tornadoes. The Tornadoes will host Bluefield College at 1 p.m., the doubleheader at Islamel Family Field. That's softball. 6 p.m. on Wednesday, women's basketball versus Piedmont, the Play for K game at the Boschenberg Gymnasium. That's 6 p.m. Wednesday for some women's hoops. And then a full day of action on Saturday. The climbing team will be at Western Carolina for their season opener. The tennis team we mentioned, they'll be playing at both 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. against Southern Wesleyan and Spartanburg Methodist at the Mckay Tennis Complex. The softball team will be in Winston-Salem. They'll be taking on Southern Virginia and Salem at the Spirit Invitational. That begins at noon in Winston-Salem. If you happen to be in the Greensboro area, head on over to Guilford, where the baseball team will be playing a doubleheader that starts at noon on Saturday. We mentioned women's basketball at home at the Bosch. That's senior day at 2 p.m., where Krista Davis and Elena Perez will be honored. 2 p.m. this Saturday at the Boschmer Gymnasium. Men's basketball will be on the road on Saturday at Maryville. And women's lacrosse with their season opener at Berry in Mount Berry, Georgia. That's this Saturday at 6 p.m. Head over to bctornadoes.com to follow all the latest on Brevard College athletics, and also follow the Tornadoes at BC Tornadoes on Twitter and Instagram. YouTube, go to Brevard College Tornadoes, and be sure to follow Brevard College Tornadoes on SoundCloud as well for audio coverage. And Brevard College Athletics on Facebook is the page you will want to like. Want to thank those behind the scenes this evening that made tonight's show possible: Joseph Marvin, Destiny Williams, and Jamarcus Walker. We will see you next week right back here at Dugan's Pub for another edition of Tornado Talk. Thanks for joining tonight's show. Go Tornadoes.